Propy's weekly webinar. This is our 101st episode where we bring you the latest in technology and trends intersecting between crypto, blockchain, NFTs, and real estate. Today's topic is going to be about DAOs, decentralized autonomous organization. And if you're not familiar with the DAO, stay tuned because after the introductions of our guests, I'll put some more context. What is a DAO? What are we looking at? And Barclay Romero and Teresa Kennedy will have real world examples. Both Barclay and Teresa are real estate agents. And I believe both are Propy crypto certified agents.
On my way.
So let's start off with the intros. Barclay, tell us a little bit about yourself, your real estate background.
Absolutely. So I am licensed in both Arizona and in California. My background is actually in opera singing and acting. And a few years ago, I got my real estate license as a sort of side hustle and just fell in love with it. Long story short, I was doing primarily door knocking and open houses when COVID hit. And so when that shut completely down in California, I created a social media platform called Glendale Gratitude. That was for my neighbors in Glendale, California. And it was meant to help them redistribute all the goods that were being hoarded. So by way of that, I started being associated with the community and created a mentorship program that teaches new agents how to lead generate in a way that gives back to the community. So now I run a national company called Real Gratitude that we teach lead generation by being of contribution to the community.
Great. Thank you very much. Welcome today. Teresa Kennedy.
Hi. Thank you for welcoming me. I'm a real estate agent in New Jersey, and I am on the local board of real as a director. Recent conversation. It's exciting what DAOs can do. A year ago, I co-founded our RE Token DAO, which is a DAO for real estate tokenization. And more recently, I am in the process of establishing the Black History DAO for the preservation of Black history on a blockchain and in the metaverse. I've been a crypto certified agent since last year, and more recently a meta certified agent with Propy, one of the 3 meta certified agents.
Congrats.
And so I'm excited. Yeah, I'm blending the metaverse and virtual real estate with the preservation of in real life or IRL landscapes. So I'm excited to be here and be in communications with top leadership at Propy because I believe that it'll help with transferring their skill set and knowledge into the preservation of historical sites as well.
Excellent. I think great 2 topics. And folks, we're going to dive into those momentarily. For our live attendees, and I know we're streaming on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, but for the live attendees, go ahead and put where you all are from. Let me know if you're an agent, brokerage, title, lender. And if you have any questions, feel free to use the Q&A button on the bottom of your Zoom window. Now let's talk about DAOs. DAOs, for those not familiar, is a decentralized autonomous organization. Basically, it's meant to be a community-driven, bottom-up approach to running an organization where there's no single entity, no central leadership. The decisions are made by the whole group. And maybe Teresa and Barclay, give us some examples in your particular ones, how you divide up tokens and what does it mean by a member to stake their tokens in order to put a proposal in. But folks, as we get started in the DAOs, we won't get too much into the weeds. We only have 30 minutes, 25 left. And I do want to give some real world real estate examples of where it could be beneficial. But basically, imagine an organization where the members all vote. Now, you know, in many organizations and they were set up at the time to streamline decision-making process. That means you have a committees that make decisions. You have a board or a central unit to make the decisions, which should be made on behalf of the entire group. But sometimes the knocks against it are that, all right, they try to undo influence. People tend to favor their smaller subgroups and friends. And many of the committee members don't feel that their vote or their proposal was adequately heard, right? DAOs are designed to take care of that because the decision process is utilizing smart contracts. Basically, algorithmic predefined codes that if A occurs, B automatically occurs, and you remove the middle people within the decision-making process. And to remove people from just wasting everyone's time with ridiculous proposals, there's ways to combat that. But I think we have two good examples today. I should say my favorite part of running a DAO in this manner is, since it's on blockchain, all the financials are also on blockchain and public and to any of the members. So that means where the group spends money and to whom is all audited by every member of the organization. So and as we move into Web3, which is built on blockchain, which is built for the similar transparency, we're going to start to see that intersection. So Teresa, as one of the first 3 meta agent,
yes, it
certified.
moves the culture.
So Teresa, why don't you start off where you may want to drop the video. We are having a little bit of transmission audio quality on you. So if it does continue, we'll jump right into Barkley. But Teresa. All right. Barkley,
I didn't make
all right, Teresa, we have, see if you can fix the audio side. Let's jump over to Barkley right now. So Barkley, your DAO is tied to real estate and to homelessness. Explain.
Yes. So basically what I was talking about earlier, how I created the national company where we are of contribution to the community. What that has done is created in itself a full community in Web 2 that has the same goal in mind, which really that is what a DAO is one community working towards the same goal with the same mission in mind, putting the valuation on the same thing. What we deem valuable is time, gratitude, contribution, and energy, as opposed to material items. By taking away that materialistic version of money, of currency, we're actually able to create a new fund. That fund can then use those funds to almost as a shared bank account, if you will. So we can then attribute them to whatever cause we see needs assistance. What it has boiled down to is homelessness, mental health, and lack of community in the world. And then of course that boils in there with sustainability as well, and the need to, with climate change and all of that sort of stuff. So if we have those main goals in mind of things that we need to hit, we can then allocate our funds accordingly. What we can then do with our major fund, which we are calling a real estate investment life, a REAL as opposed to a REIT, we can then use those funds to do tokenized fractional real estate. Since that coin that I was talking about earlier is putting valuation on time, energy, gratitude, and contribution, it makes it much more accessible to reach. So people can get that coin by doing things like showing up to therapy, dropping clean on their drug tests, even, extra credit points basically for showing up to work and being able to maintain their job for longer periods of time. And this is in a society that we see, that the jobs are more centered on the person as opposed to the person being centered around the job. So if we're able to create this new ecosystem, when we are able to create this new ecosystem, it will allow for those experiencing homelessness, since that coin is so accessible, to become real estate investors.
Got it. Okay. So, and then it also gives time. It's not pure giveaway because they're getting rewarded for fulfilling certain actions, which the DAO would have set up is a pathway to improving one's life or situation in
Exactly.
that context, right?
Exactly. So doing things like beach cleanups, showing up to the animal shelter to help clean cages, crates, those sort of things are ways that you can get access to these coins. And you don't necessarily have to be experiencing homelessness to be able to receive coin in that regard.
Anybody that has a value of helping others in a particular manner can be rewarded and then use these coins as future real estate investment.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Thank you for the clarification.
Of course. Of course.
And where do you see the long-term goal? And also how much time and effort does one put into there in this case, how much of your time and effort is put into your DAO, your community building and outreach? And do you have time actually to be your agent brokerage?
Yeah. So what I am basically doing is, as I mentioned earlier about taking that national real estate company, what that is doing is basically finding all the agents that are committed to being of contribution to their community and basically giving them the blue check mark for doing that. So we're able to create this large referral network of agents that are putting 5% at max of every single commission back into the DAO to help pay for operations. So that's how we stay funded. That's how we keep funds going in. And on top of that, we're also applying to grants, those sort of things, looking for outside donors. We don't call them investors because of how the coin is, how the tokenization is split up. We do call them donors. So at this point, I would say 100% of my time, my work life, if you will, is being put towards this DAO, because what a DAO is a community. And what I am doing is building the community. Right now, we're still in Web 2. We're building on Discord, saying open source. So anybody that wants to join on Discord, come, please, the more the merrier. I'll go ahead and post after this a link on my Instagram, real.barkley, so that anybody that wants to be involved can be involved. So just building the community in itself has been taking some time, but now that we have so many agents, we have agents in Salt Lake City, Denver, Colorado, Phoenix, Arizona, Tucson, Arizona, Oahu, Hawaii, and Los Angeles, California. So all of those agents are putting a portion of their commission back into the DAO with every single deal that they have. We just closed an escrow yesterday. We opened 2 escrows on Monday, went live on a listing on Monday, and another live on a listing on Friday. So I personally am still working as an agent. I do have buyers and sellers that I service, but most of my time is spent towards operations. And at this point, I'm not taking a salary of any sort. At some point, hopefully the community will decide that, that.
And that's interesting because you don't have authority to go in and specify how much money you will make in the community group that you founded and built, correct?
Correct. That's correct.
So now each member gets the vote whether or not you get paid or not.
Totally. Which is why I've still been doing sales, because at this point, I'm working for free for real change, which, at some point I would love if that would, change. But for now, it's a worthy investment of my time and my energy.
All right. So now the ask out for agents that have a passion to help in the community grouping, and it's not tied to one specific group, right? You can help people in different communities. So if you have a group of agents, let's say in Denver, that want to join and get involved, then can the DAO allocate some of those resources for the communities within Denver per se?
Yes. So whenever we do a closing that's above $500,000, what we do is we do a drive associated with it. So a clothing drive, a food drive, book drive, shoe drives, those sort of things. And we always let our client pick what that drive will be, which nonprofit we'll partner with for that. So as far as putting any funds back into the nonprofit at this point, no actual monetary donations, or I guess no direct currency is being donated to the nonprofit, only the time and energy. And the reasoning behind that is because when COVID hit and this community was created, I actually lost my housing and did not have a place that I was really staying in Los Angeles. I was couch surfing and spending a lot of time at families' residences and going back and forth. But I wanted to be able to give back. I wanted to be able to be of service. And being a new agent, I didn't have money to give. I didn't have a way to donate. So I created the community and was able to provide clothing to over 3,000 members of the Los Angeles homeless community. We were able to provide toys, books, food, even Halloween costumes for children experiencing homelessness. So being able to put my time and energy, I was actually able to provide more than I would have been able to have provided if I were just to write a check.
Got it. And it people's time is actually more valuable.
It is.
And their time and the commitment over the long run. And I
Exactly.
think people that devote their time will get much more in return than write a check, get the tax write-off, which, don't get me wrong, in some cases, people need that too. And that's part of the giving process.
Absolutely. And that we plan on getting to that point as well by hosting events. We're planning our first event in Phoenix, Arizona, doing a block party and being able to we've partnered with Classy, which is a part of GoFundMe, so that we can do an event and allow all of our donors to come in for free. But then anybody that wants to come in and they don't have anything to donate, they can either join our Discord so that they can, get on with the company. And basically, we're giving them access to ownership of our company just by being on this Discord. So they can then join the company in that regard, or they can pay a cover fee to get in. And then those donations will be able to go straight back into the nonprofits. But as of right now, items are the big thing that we collect. And it's great. It gives new agents an opportunity to get involved in the community. It gives new agents a way to build their reputation. And it gives them a way to feel like they are able to use all the traditional farming techniques that we use as agents: door knocking, cold calling, dropping by and just bringing little gifts over, just to say thank you. All of these things that we do as agents already, we just flip the script a little bit and make it a little bit more efficient in regards to being able to help others.
Great. And I think that's one thing, and fabulous explanation, Barclay, that this is where technology is not to disrupt our everyday life, but it's to improve how we work, make it more efficient, and free up our time so we can start to help and do our part in taking care of certain challenges, especially those of the challenges that we are passionate about assisting. Yes. Teresa, let's talk about your DAO and where it came from, why, and explain it to us, because I think this is another fabulous example and a great use case for a DAO.
For the Black History DAO or the real estate token DAO?
Well, first of all, your real estate token, I was wondering how I got on the Instagram and social media. Now I know, because I do pay attention to it. Take a little bit of time. Let's talk about both.
Okay.
Let's start with the Black History DAO, because actually I like that. And then, not that I don't like your real estate token, but let's save that because that'll lead into the next conversation after and get us back to real estate.
Sure. So I'm absolutely excited about the development of the Black History DAO. It's still in its formation stages. I'm taking it slow with the formation because I want to get legal consultation to make sure we do it right. Because there's so many things that can be involved in preserving our history, from the development of the blockchain to the museums and the metaverse to working with preserving in real life sites, and how real estate interacts with history preservation, and the power of what the DAO can do. So historically, and we're starting with Black history, but I'm hoping that baby DAOs are birthed from this, to help in the restoration of all cultural history. And so, but starting with Black history, we have had a very sordid history, preservation, not, it being burned and flooded and intentionally destroyed or corrupted or presented inaccurately and suppressed. And so starting with correcting those errors, and also bringing to light what we have that we know is truth, and that has not gotten a light shined on it. Taking the initiative as a people to come together to retell our stories is able to occur under a DAO structure. And with using blockchain technology and cryptocurrency, we can all participate in the process that may not have been readily available to us before. So we don't have to wait for someone else to do these things. These are things that we can actually come together under the DAO structure to do as a unit. Like, a swarm of honeybees. We can roll together and we can come together under one cause and get it done one by one by one by one by one, and work on the restoration of our history. And we can use the contributions and support of others who love us, to get it done. And so I'm excited to play a part in establishing the foundation for that to occur.
Great. Excellent. And being part of when HP many years ago did the Million Book Project, and Google, when they did 4 million books digitized, as well as works of arts that got digitized and then was able to get exposed to a much larger population. Exposure, knowledge, and making sure it's accurate and it's not getting rewritten or misinterpreted as ages, generations after generation. I think that's one of the most valuable things we will see from utilizing blockchain. And no doubt will go, every culture and every bit of history gets recorded, whether, it's scientific papers, whether it's cultural significance, whether it's even individuals and individual stories that can get recorded and preserved. So fabulous.
That is correct. And that would be the stories will be a part of the diverse experience and the power of the story of my ancestors and my family that I want to put on audio and place into a metaverse, for people to be able to hear or experience. Someone else may have their story. We have historians in our DAO right now. We have over 70 people that will be contributing to the DAO as of right now. And if anyone else wants to join this movement, you can go to blackhistorydao.io and submit the form on there, and you'll be on the email list that I send out emails. You'll be getting the information of when we'll be meeting and what we're doing. But for being able to use the DAO structure to preserve history, like you mentioned, the books and what Google did in digitizing. Even the Black History, the African American History Museum in DC just went through a whole digitization process with the works that they have. And it was a huge undertaking that took a lot of time. And that information, like you can access some of it on the website in Web 2. But what we're developing, we have one of our members that's going to be developing a Sophia the robot type of technology or artificial intelligence being.
I want the hologram.
We're going to feed all of the history into. Yes. To feed all of that griot.
I want the hologram, so when grandparents can be and great-great-grandparents and have generation after generation be able to talk to their great relatives from centuries before in a hologram form and really understand what it was like at that point in time. I think that's such a valuable transfer of knowledge. It's incredible. And apologize, folks, I can get on little tangents here and I know Teresa's background. Teresa, you may want to share with the group your academia background because it'll also give some context.
Wow, I don't know where to begin. My
quickly though, because I want to touch base on retokens, and we only got 10 minutes left.
Okay, so well, my background is in anthropology and archaeology. That's where I studied at Vanderbilt under some of the best archaeologists and anthropologists in the world. One of my archaeology professors told me she taught African archaeology. And I never forget, she said to me, Teresa, she said over 98% of the funding in archaeology in Africa is concentrated in Egypt. She says it's not that the rest of Africa doesn't have things that need funding and preservation for. Even though most of Africa, the climate is biodegradable, whereas on the Nile, you have that very rare instance of preservation, natural preservation from the desert along, and then the life-giving force of the Nile. But there's a lot that's being ignored in the preservation, even after Henry Louis Gates went and preserved the Malian books and texts, and then South Africa picked it up after him, and then they were lost after that. So having some type of continuity in the preservation of our historical structures and items like books. It is something that a DAO like the Black History DAO could be able to pick up, so that the group is then responsible. And as we raise funds and sell NFTs or do projects, we are able to, as a group, not just one governmental body or one individual company or an individual person, but a group of a collective, to be the good stewards of the preservation of our history.
And that brings it brings up like what Wikipedia did in the early internet. It's how information will get authenticated, validated, because before it gets to chain, it has to go get validated. And the community grows, we get more information. All right, we're going to jump over. Give me 1 minute on Retoken DAO, and then let's get back into the real estate and, where DAOs can go from here within real estate. And
sure. Well, Retoken DAO will be having a summit to help educate people on real estate tokenization. Our Discord is pretty active. And also the YouTube for Retoken for real estate. It's Retoken, acronym for our E-token is an acronym rather. And so lots of video and content. Everything is recorded. Everything is open source. You can go to the GitHub. You can fork the DAO. I encourage other people to learn about those types of processes to help kind of do hacks on getting through some of these things. Everything's laid out step by step, how to set up a Gnosis save, how to set up your snapshot, your governance, all of those types of things were recorded. All of our meetings were recorded as we went through the process of developing the DAO, so that other people would be able to follow those steps and recreate these systems. We have a really good basis an idea that we fleshed out for the replacement of homeownership associations with DAO structures.
So let's stay on the HOA a minute. And Bart, let's get your input here. And I know Notorious Rob talked in his article the other day. He gave some examples why he thought real estate associations would be prime for DAOs, because real estate association really is supposed to be for the members, which is, your agents. but they run by committees. They're run by governance group, which is a much smaller, and yes, old ways because you had faster decision making. But wouldn't an association actually, could a DAO work better for real estate agents
Yes.
than
So
the current structure? Barkley, what do you think?
personally, I think yes. What we are working towards is lending and doing some DeFi projects so that we can actually do loans that would give part ownership to the community, so that the majority of the home would be owned by the person that holds, since it's under an LLC, we can split it up that way. But in that regard, we can actually create safer loans that if somebody defaults, then it just goes over to the community, and the community can then decide how that property is utilized. So that what that means is that we could, in theory, create a global HOA.
So does that mean that if we had like we did in 2008 or 9, that foreclosures didn't disrupt an entire neighborhood's value?
Exactly. It wouldn't disrupt, and we could build it into the blockchain, into the smart contract, so that everything could just basically restabilize, so that it wouldn't be like a fund is completely pulled and it goes down. It would just restabilize itself based on the smart contracts.
All right, then having an HOA under a DAO removes the members who get upset at the committee that they don't know where the money's going because it's all audited, right? It removes some communities.
Yes.
Where members feel that the HOA board is abusing powers or targeting particular streets or favoring particular streets over others, because it really is it has to be a unanimous, group, all HOA member vote rather than just a committee vote, right?
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
so I get the HOA. Now, how about real estate associations that act on behalf of the millions of agents? Would that be better served as a DAO, or would it be too big?
Yes.
Teresa?
It would be, well, Dave Conroy, who is the head of this for NAR in technology, he actually suggested that very thing. I reached out to him today. Hopefully he gets my message, because as a director on our local board of realtor, I really do think that it would be served better because our meetings are so closed. And I don't feel that we can really get a pulse, even though the DAO structure may lead to slower decision making. In this instance of real estate, I kind of feel like it would probably lead to more quicker decision making, because everyone would have the opportunity to be involved and engaged and make proposals that would be more relevant to what's going on than us in our quarterly meetings, because people are up all night and all day working on these DAOs and submitting proposals and voting and acting out what it is that we agree that we're going to do, and so I do think that for each community that we have that we're working on growing into, including blockchain technology, because we cannot ignore it. We cannot stay in bone ages in real estate. Real estate and medicine are two areas that are highly legally entwined and that are really, really stay in the old ages. But we can't really do that. And national associations of realtors, I'm really glad that Dave Conroy said what he said about blockchain, crypto, NFTs, and DAOs, and that it is on their radar. And so for those of you who are realtors in here and are in contact with your association of realtors, let's continue this discussion, because this is a discussion I think that could change the state of real estate and keep us on tap of being responsive to our communities using blockchain technology and decentralization.
Got it. You know what? We're just going to drop the mic on that one, Teresa. Yeah. We are out of time here, folks. Join us next week for the 102nd episode of Propy's weekly webinar. If this was too much overhead for some of our audience, this is a precursor of where, especially if you're an agent or a broker, you need to start paying attention to, because this is some of the enhancements and improvements on how things are done today that will be moving forward, not only in Web3 technology tools and services, but also in real estate. Improvements are happening, and we believe for the better utilizing blockchain. Barclay, let's talk a little bit later. I do have an update on the previous conversation from a brokerage standpoint.
Very cool.
Teresa, thank you very much. Audience, thank you for joining us today. Have a pleasant, wonderful the rest of your day, week, and weekend. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Bye. Thank you.